Well, what's up, everybody? Man, I'm excited. We're out here in the shop. It's been a long time since I've done anything out in the shop, and I'm going to kind of show you around. My shop is an absolute mess. I don't know that it's ever been this messy, but I've just finished about 4 or 5 projects, which has been kind of cool. But I mean, look at this place. Trashed. I decided to build a trailer, had a whole bunch of scrap metal outside, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build me a trailer. You know what? Building a trailer is a lot more work than what you think. So I've got it almost built. It's going to be a cool little 5-foot by 10-foot trailer. So still got fenders to put on it. I still got a lot still left to do on that. But I just did work on my 4-wheeler, got the front end rebuilt on it, had to rebuild the reed valves in my boat. That's all done. And now if you look in the back, you see those? Yeah, those are cots. We got a tent for Christmas. And we're going to use those in our tent. Me and the boys are going to do some tent camping this year. Ian's bike's back here too. You can see it. Had a hole in the tire, and we put a tube in it, and the tube's got a hole in it now because we didn't get the piece of metal out of it that put the hole in the first place. Anyway, today, here's what's going on. Today, this video is going to leave a mark. I'm not sure you're going to even like it, but I've got some stuff I want to talk to you about. And we're going to talk about expectations. We're going to talk about expectation trap. We're going to talk about the mask. We're going to talk about the mask. We're going to talk about a lot of other things. This is going to be kind of a hardcore video, so just get ready. Some of you aren't going to like it, but that's probably good for you. You need to be stretched. You need somebody to tell you something you don't like every once in a while. So that's what it's going to be about today. So get ready. We're going to jump into this video right now. So yeah, I've got my Bible out and everything today because I want to talk to you about some stuff that I call the expectations trap. Let me give you a little quick history. This is kind of in my book a little bit, and I'm going to address some things that in my book that actually gave me liberty. It's occurred to me lately as I've gotten with different groups of people that today there's crazy expectations. People expect so much from each other. They expect you to act certain ways, treat things certain ways, be as convicted about anything they're convicted about. They think you need to do the same thing they're doing, be as upset as they are and outraged as they are. Say, oh my gosh, you should be as outraged as I am, and all that kind of stuff. And so what I want to do is I want to talk to you about, my book title is More Than Happy, and I feel like this is one of the things that you need to understand. I had to come to grips with this, that for me to be in that more than happy mode and really experience real more than happy joy that God wanted for me, one of the first things I was going to have to let go of was everybody else's expectations. Now, just say this to you. I'm a pastor, and as a pastor, you got to understand people expect you to act certain ways. People expect pastors to look certain ways, act certain ways, and quite frankly, that's not me, okay? I'm just going to be completely honest with you. One of the reasons why I spent so much time really debating whether God had called me into ministry, it wasn't because of any reason other than it just didn't fit. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that, I don't know. I don't fit into that category of what pastors look like. I mean, pastors look a certain way, man. They look good. They got their little stuff on that. Today they're skinny jeaned up and whatever else. So, and you've heard me say it before, that's not me. Y'all, I hunt and kill things. I eat meat. I'm not a vegan. Nothing against vegans. So before y'all start commenting, I'm not knocking vegans. Some of my best friends are vegans, but that's not me. We killed a deer just the other day. There's a blood spot in the floor right here. We killed a deer. Bennett shot a deer in the backyard, and it's out there in an ice chest, a Yeti ice chest in the yard. That's me. So I don't fit into. I don't wear a suit. I don't like suits. I don't want to look skinny jeaned. I don't have regular jeans look like skinny jeans on me. So I didn't fit into that category. But today, if you don't fit into people's category of expectations, they get all bristly. See, back in the day, I remember teaching students this thing that I would say, hey, there's this thing called peer pressure. There's this thing where you're going to be pressured into doing things you don't need to do or you don't want to do because of peer pressure. And today I have to talk to adults about the same thing. It's crazy how that I was telling, 13, 14-year-olds this, 10, 15 years ago. Today I'm having to tell the same ones, hey, there's adults that are going to have peer pressure on you. Here's the crazy thing. Peer pressure back in the day used to work like this. If you don't do what I want you to do, or you don't act how I want you to act, if you don't like what I like, if whatever, then I'm just not going to like you. That's how it used to be. It used to be, if you don't do the stuff, now the flip side is peer pressure on the adult side, social media among adults is, if you don't like what I like, if you don't like the president I like, if you don't wear a mask like I wear, or don't wear a mask like I wear, if you're not as upset about the virus as I am, if you don't drive this kind of car that doesn't put off emissions or whatever our cause is, if you don't, now it's not that I won't like you. Today we've gone from I don't like you, that's the peer pressure thing. Today peer pressure is I'll hate you. I'll hate your guts. I'll try to destroy your character. I'll use every resource I've got to talk bad about you. I'll gossip about you. I'll run you down. I'll tell lies about you. Whatever. That's where we're at. That's the intimidation of this crowd. Now, the problem that I think that we have is that we've forgotten that the crowd only has that power over you if you give a rip. See, the crowd's gotten more ferocious because we give a rip. I'm going to free you up today. Here's the first ingredient that you need to think about if you're going to live a life that's more than happy is you don't need to give a rip about what everybody thinks. You don't need to give a rip. Do you have to give an explanation to everybody for what they don't like about you? You don't. Do I give an explanation? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. I did today online. Somebody was ripping the church. What they said wasn't true. I just said, hey, that's not true. Here's the facts. Here's the facts. You guys don't see the facts, but here's the facts. Here's where they are. But you don't have to give a rip. Here's what I learned early on when God had me on this journey of living in this bondage. In fact, my coffee cup, y'all have seen it before. This is an Alcatraz coffee cup. This is a coffee cup from Alcatraz. It doesn't keep your coffee warm for squat, okay? It's not fun to drink out of, but I drink out of it. You want to know why? Because I want to be reminded of the prison that I could be in and used to be in when I paid attention to what everybody else thought and I tried to keep up with everybody else's expectation. That's a prison. So I drink coffee out of a crappy coffee cup from a prison because I want to be reminded that I'm not going to live in that bondage. I don't care what you think. And I know that sounds terrible. And someone says, wait a second, how do you think? No, I can't keep up with what everybody thinks. Neither can you. This is your key to freedom. Here's the other thing. This cancel culture crowd, we would dethrone them if we would toughen up and say, I don't give a rip. I don't give a rip about what you think. You'll never live a happy life trying to keep up with everybody's expectations. I can be with one group in the morning and they're like, man, everybody should be wearing a mask. If you're not wearing a mask, you hate humanity. You're trying to kill grandma. And you'll be with somebody else who are like, I'm not wearing a mask no matter what. They can take my life. And either group that you're with, they're going to want you to feel the way they feel. I don't care to feel like everybody else feels because I don't have time to keep up with that. I remember when I was a kid, this ushering in of bicycle helmets. There was an intimidation. One day, Stacy and I were riding at Burns Park. We got mountain bikes. We were riding our bikes. And I forgot my helmet. And I rode my bike anyway. And this guy said, are you really going to get on that bike without a helmet? Listen, I spent the first 20 years, 17, whatever years of my life riding a bike without a helmet. Okay, if I want to ride my bike without a helmet, I'll ride it. Okay, should I wear a helmet? Probably. I don't want to be wearing a diaper because I bumped my noggin. But here's what I'll say, though. We're in this place where I didn't care what he thought or not. Let me clarify. You should do something because it's the right thing, not because someone pressured you into it. Even if it's a good thing, if you allow people's voices to pressure you into it, then what you're beginning to do is you're beginning to succumb to the pressure of people, and that will make you somewhat numb to the voice of God, because there is going to come a point where the voice of the crowd is going to say, do this, and the voice of God will say, no. And you're going to have to make a really hard choice. And if you've begun to listen to the crowd, not doing it because it's the right thing. I had somebody ask about the masks at church. Y'all wearing masks at church. We're wearing the freaking mask, okay? We're doing it. Why? Because the stinking virus is here, and we're doing it because it's the right thing to do. We're not doing it because a group of people are mad about the mask or not mad about the mask. It doesn't matter to me. We're doing it because it's the right thing. We feel like it's one step where we can serve people, and we're going to serve people that way. That's how we serve. We're going to do stuff. But I'm not doing it because someone told me to do. You and I have to relinquish the responsibility of trying to make the world like me by my behavior, because that gives the world way too much control over you, and you have to be willing to lose friends, have people mad at you, someone posts negative things about you. You have to do that. Otherwise, you're living in prison. You'll get to live in Alcatraz under everybody's expectation. Terrible place to live, by the way. You either have time to do what God has asked you to do, or you have time to defend it, and you don't have time to do both. You have one life to carry out what God calls you to do. Let me read something to you from the Bible. I love this, what Jesus had to say. Here's what he said. I have to wear my cool glasses. Here we go. Get ready. Bam. That's right. Bobby Bones. Okay. Jesus said, if the world hates you, remember that it hated me first. The world would love you as one of its own if you belong to it. But you're no longer part of the world. I chose you to come out of the world, so it hates you. Do you remember what I told you? A slave is not greater than its master. Since they persecuted me, naturally they'll persecute you. Now let me clarify. Jesus is saying, while you're in the world, if you're living for Jesus, people are going to dislike you and they're going to even hate you for living for Jesus. Now I want to be clear. Jesus is not saying, hey, go out and make everybody mad. Go out and do everything you can to tick people off, because that's what it means to be a Christian, is to tick everybody off. That's what it means to live for Jesus, and make the whole world mad at you. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is as you listen to the voice of God, there will be times where the voice of God will be in conflict with the voice of the crowd. We listen to the voice of God, and the crowd will be angry because of it. You have to be willing to accept that. You just have to. That is the first step of jettisoning this expectation trap that we can be caught in. I'm trying to make everybody happy. I'm trying to make everybody like me. I don't want anybody to be upset with me. I really don't want to. That's too bad, because you're really missing out on life, because somebody's going to be upset with you about something no matter what you do. We gave away like 1,500 bikes a few years ago. And I may be exaggerating that number. It may not have been 1,500, but it was a ton of bikes, hundreds. It may have been 1,500. I can't remember. Anyway, so before somebody gets mad and goes, you're overquoting, maybe I am, I don't know. We gave away a bunch of bikes. It filled up a whole warehouse full of bicycles that we bought from Walmart, and we gave them away. And I remember people said, you know what? The thing I didn't like is that, that style of bicycle is really dangerous. What style has bicycle? 2 wheels. Bicycle. I don't know. But it's always something in the way you handed them out. Or we didn't like that you didn't have the better big bikes. You had the better smaller bikes. Or if someone is going, no matter what you do, there's always going to be an opposition. Here's how you dethrone it, is you stop giving that voice a dominant position in your life. And just accept someone's not going to like it. And that's okay. I don't have to care. It's not that I'm not caring about the person. It's not that I don't listen to criticism, because you got to listen to criticism. Sometimes what they have to say is true. Sometimes you go, that's right. I messed that one up. I screwed that up. I probably need to do that differently. But the rest of the time, you just have to go, hey, the world don't like me when I'm serving Jesus. Obviously, the enemy, we have a real enemy. They're going to criticize something. To people who are in the world, the worldly details are more important to them than the purpose and the cause of Christ. For us, and I'm just going to throw us in the category of believers. As a believer, I have to be more concerned about what God says and what God wants. And I have to listen to his voice. I have to carry out his will. And when I do that, I have to jettison this voice coming from the world telling me, I gotta shut that off and go, I can't really listen to that. Because God's voice is the one that tells me what to do. When I do that, I move one step closer to a life that's really more than happy. It's a beautiful thing to not live in the prison of everybody else's expectation, but to enjoy the life God's given you. Here's what I pray. I pray that you can jettison that. The moment we stop letting the critics dominate and carry out our life, the moment you cut the puppet strings off and you go, I'm not going to live that way. I'm going to do what's right because it's the right thing. I'm not going to do it because you're intimidating, because you're a bully, because you're trying to strong-arm me. I won't be strong-armed into that kind of stuff. I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not willing to look a certain way, act a certain way, or do certain behaviors because somebody else is bullying me into it. I'm going to do it because God told me to do it. And I'm going to do it because God is a loving God and he expects me to love people. And I'm going to love people in that way. I'm not going to necessarily listen to the voices of what they're asking me to do. I'm going to do what God has said I need to do, not what the world says that I should be doing. And in that, because of that, not only will I probably have people not like me, I will have people hate me, but I will be living in harmony with God. And that, my friends, is where joy and peace and purpose and perspective all come from. You can't live in that while you're trying to live up to everybody else's stuff. So anyway, there's your message for the day. We are going to start a podcast in the next week or so. It's going to be addressing these topics and stuff, and we'll do some more shop talk videos. I got some more family stuff we're going to put on here. Always like and subscribe. We'll continue to put videos out there. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers when I make this video, so if we're past 1,000 subscribers, you'll go, golly, look at that. But when you subscribe, you help us put this content in front of other people. Anyway, you're a blessing. God bless you, and I want you to know this, that you have the opportunity to live for God today. It's a great opportunity. Pray you'll take him up on it. God bless you.